the mechanics of reality. We are used to looking for hidden meanings, destiny, or a higher purpose in everything. But let's cast aside mysticism and look at the world exclusively through the lens of physics, biology, and cognitive science. If we strip away the illusions, the picture becomes perfectly clear, harsh, and pragmatic. Within this paradigm, there is no higher plan. Everything we see is the result of the rapid expansion of the universe. Here, advocates of mysticism always ask the same question. Then who created the initial singularity? This attempt to find a creator is simply a bug in our brain, which is accustomed to everyday logic where every chair must have a carpenter. But on a quantum level, this logic doesn't work. Modern physics provides clear answers. There is the theory of quantum fluctuation, which proves that particles can spontaneously emerge from an absolute quantum vacuum. No creator is needed for this. There is the theory of a cyclic universe, where the world infinitely expands and contracts, meaning it never had a beginning at all. Or the multiverse theory. In any of these scientifically grounded models, there is simply no room for a supreme mind. We are not the crown of creation, but the product of a long evolution and blind natural selection. It's hard for our brain to accept this because these processes took billions of years, and we cannot comprehend such massive spans of time. Therefore, it has always been easier for people to invent gods than to believe in the slow, relentless mathematics of nature. But if we are merely a biological species, what makes us a personality? Imagine a computer. Our genetics is the hardware. It determines our basic physical capabilities and even what kind of experiences we are biologically drawn to. But personality itself is the software. It is a highly complex fusion of acquired skills and experiences that we install onto this hardware. No matter how powerful your processor is by nature, who you ultimately become is determined solely by the software you load. Absolutely all of our actions are dictated by this database. We don't make decisions just because. In any situation, our brain calculates the best option based exclusively on what we have already seen, done, and felt. Does this mean we have no choice? We always have a choice. We make decisions every second. It's just that our experience serves as the compass for this choice. That is exactly why it is impossible to calculate this world with 100% accuracy. Millions of variables influence any event. No one could calculate the exact day World War I would start. Or take the modern era. When will the war between Russia and Ukraine end? Logic suggests when Putin realizes that it poses a direct threat to his personal power. But calculating exactly when his personal complex of experience will assess the risks as critical is impossible. Just as it is impossible to predict a stock market crash. The market is a crowd, and you cannot calculate its collective reaction. If the world is a chaos of unpredictable variables, who runs it? Here, an evolutionary balance comes into play, known as the Pareto principle, the 80-20 rule. The mechanics of this division are perfectly explained by Daniel Kahneman's research. Our brain operates in two modes, fast intuitive and slow analytical. Critical thinking requires colossal amounts of energy, and since our brain is lazy by nature and always strives for rest, 80% of people practically do not use this energy-consuming analytical mode. They simply do not want to step out of their comfort zone, preferring to be guided by rapid intuition and accumulated experience. And only 20% of people constantly force themselves to turn on their critical thinking. It would seem that these rational analysts from the 20% should rule the world. But analytics only works with the past, and progress is always a step into the unknown. For humanity to survive and develop, nature needs this massive 80% crowd of dreamers and intuitives. Millions of their crazy ideas will fail. But when all external factors suddenly align, time, technology, the right people, and money, one dreamer changes the course of history. Steve Jobs, Elon Musk, Napoleon. These are visionaries who broke the rules on pure intuition. You cannot be both a dry analyst and a great dreamer at the same time. Meanwhile, the 20% of people with critical thinking are needed by evolution so that this world doesn't fall off its orbit and remain stable, while the intuitives jump into the abyss of progress. In this mechanical system, even ethics is not a divine law, but an evolutionary algorithm. A tribe that has trust and rules of the game simply survives more successfully. Morals and mutual aid are simply the most effective skills for collective survival. How, then, can an individual develop within such a system? There is only one answer. Constantly update your software. As we age, our brain becomes lazy. It consumes a huge amount of energy and always strives for rest, surrounding itself with a comfort zone. And here the main rule applies. Any new skill is acquired only through stress. But we are not talking about destructive stress. We are talking about a scientifically proven mechanism. In psychology, this is described by the Yerkes-Dodson law. It proves that successful learning and development require an optimal level of tension. If there is no stress and you sit in comfort, apathy and stagnation set in. If the stress is overwhelming, panic begins, and the brain blocks the ability to learn. Development happens only at the peak of this curve, in the zone of controlled, measured discomfort. Look at physical training. Muscles grow only when you make an effort on a rowing machine, getting micro tears from the load. If the resistance is too low, the muscle won't grow. If you set an insane pace, you'll tear your ligaments. It's the same with intellect. Learning the German language or writing complex code makes your brain boil with tension. Adult development is always a conscious overcoming of one's biological laziness. Life is chaos with no guarantees. If your day passed in absolute comfort, you gained nothing. You got one day older, but not one bit stronger. You only have your hardware, your experience, and your willingness to go through tension toward new skills. And only that determines who you will become tomorrow.